These are the books that y'all was hyping? That is fucking bonkers. I feel is how I feel, how you feel is how you feel, and that's just what it is. It's my damn channel. I feel like that might be the only reason why a lot of these white readers even like this book, is because she ended up with whoever the hell she ended up with. I wanted her to bring something new to the table, and racism already has a seat. She already has a seat. She's comfortable. She got her throne. Racism in books, we got it, okay? Lucifer is coming to get you. I'm sending him your way, because why did y'all make me read this book? A lot of these traditionally published authors would be out of a job. Like these indie published authors, y'all need to start doing y'all research, because they really are giving the girls hell. So y'all better keep up. You can't build a whole book around one damn trope and think it's about to do something. It ain't doing nothing but getting, what, 2 stars I gave it? Please, girl. I couldn't believe how much of a hot ass mess this book was. They were bathing in like period blood. She was thinking 30 steps behind. Like, I don't know what fucking world she was in. Experience, I don't care to read the next book, and I won't. Ooh, man, we a little too close now, ain't we? I'll move y'all back. I don't really know how I feel about this. Alright, whatever. Y'all do not care what this damn background look like. Booktubers be caring about the stupidest shit. But it's all for you guys. Hello booktubing world. It is I, Capri Nicole, and I'm back with another video. So if you are new to my channel, or if you've never watched any of my videos, I'm gonna just say this straight up. I do not do disclaimers. I sometimes do trigger warnings depending on the context of the books that I'm reading, just to protect people. But I feel like if I don't like a book that you absolutely love, it's not your job to give me a ton of reasons why I should like the book. I don't like it. I don't like it. I said what I said, and that's just what it is. Reading is subjective. Everyone has their own opinion. Everyone has their own experience. My experience was lackluster, to say the least. None of these books are terrible books. And also, another thing that I want to say is, because these books are by black authors, and because obviously I'm rooting for everybody black, just because I did not like this book, even if we have similar tastes or some of the things that I say you also don't like, give the book and the author the opportunity to see if they would impress you. Don't not read a book just because of things that I say in this video. I feel like you should still give that author a chance, because sometimes we all have different opinions. So that's all I want to say on that. But other than that, disclaimers, there's no disclaimers for this video. If I don't like the damn book, I don't like the book. I'm gonna tell you why I don't like the book. I'm gonna tell you why I don't like the characters, and that's just what it be. Okay, so let's get into this video. Okay, so the lighting might be weird because I'm filming this in the daytime, so hopefully you guys don't care. I'm sure y'all don't care. Y'all only want to hear me talk about these books that I don't like. No one gives a shit about the background, Capri. But before we start, let me say, I got my little Starbucks drink. This time I got it smaller because I never end up finishing this. I'm not really a coffee gal, but I wanted to try their holiday drink. So I got a grande white mocha with 1 pump of peppermint syrup and extra mocha drizzle. And then I also got this little cake pop. This little reindeer cake pop. Want to make sure I eat before I eat these books up. Okay? Oh, another thing. Thank you to Tatiana Voigt. She ended up, yeah, thank you to Tatiana. They got me a book. I've actually already read this. This is one of my favorite books that I read this year. So I'm really happy to have a copy because I read this via library, so it's nice to have my own format. If you guys want to buy me books, my wish list is below as always, but y'all never disappoint. Y'all always give me books anyway. If you want to buy your girl books, it's in the link below. You know what I'm saying? It's in the link below. I'm just saying. But thank you, Tatiana. Let's get into her. So I have, let's see how many books we have here. I have a few notes on some of them, but I'm just gonna go off the dome. So I have 10 books that were considered disappointing books to me. I don't think I'm gonna have like a worst books video, because none of these books were like the absolute worst thing I've ever read. I think I only had like maybe 3 books that I really was just like, what the hell is this? But it wasn't something that I was like expecting anything from, so it's not like it's like this is the worst book I've ever read. It just was like, this was a bad book. Okay, let's move on. But the books that I was anticipating, They let me down so bad this year, and I honestly want to say, I don't know what it was about this year, but so many of the books that I was like highly anticipating or like really excited about, they let me down so bad. And I feel like they're putting more work into the book covers and the tropes instead of the structure, the plot. I just feel like they're obviously looking at like TikTok tropes that are really popular and just peppering them into these books, or they're making these beautiful covers but then the substance of the book lacks. Like, it's just, I don't know, it's just, I'm just really surprised by a lot of these books, especially some of these books that some people was hyping. I was like, y'all hype these, the books that y'all was hyping? These are the books that y'all was hyping. I did see some people have similar issues with certain books, so I'm like, okay, at least I can lean on them. Recommendations, I guess, because we have similar tastes and I'm not alone in this. Obviously, these covers are beautiful and I appreciate the covers, but the substance of the book needs to still be there. Like, y'all need to put more effort into the plots. These indie authors are running y'all into the ground. If more people gave them opportunities and reads, a lot of these traditionally published authors would be out of a job. Like, these indie published authors, y'all need to start doing y'all research, because they really are giving the girls hell. So y'all better keep up or you're gonna be jobless, because what are we reading? What are we doing? What's happening? What's going on? Huh? Tell me what's going on. But let's just get into the nitty-gritty, because I've already been talking for too long. All right, so let's see what we got. The first one, top of the list, we're gonna start with Blood Like Magic. Now, I did do a reading vlog for this book because I was so damn excited. I just knew she was gonna eat down. Like, I'm just like, this cover, we got a dark-skinned black girl on a cover with her fro out. The covers of these two books, the covers absolutely eat down. But I was so disappointed in this book. If you want to check out that vlog, I will link it up here so that you can check it out. It was so many things I didn't like about this book. Like, number one, the first thing I did not like the main character. I don't really know what kind of reader I am. I can't say I'm a character driven reader. Maybe I am, I don't know, because sometimes I enjoy the plot, sometimes I enjoy the character. But like, if I don't like a character, especially early on, it's just like, damn, I just know this is gonna be doomsday. But sometimes I just be rooting for like the character development. I'm like, okay, maybe she can get it together. This main character, she was so damn whiny. Like, let's start from the beginning. This book basically follows, do I have to give a synopsis for these? Okay, fine. So this book follows the main character whose family, basically when they come of age, they do this ritual to find out what their magical abilities are going to be. I think it's set in like 2074 or something like that. So it's very diverse, it's very inclusive, it's very heavily tied to like root magic, it's very family bound, got cousin best friends, and it's just like a very family orientated like magical system. The synopsis just gives, I just expected so much more. But basically, I think there's like family secrets, there's people that are trying to take control of magic in order to become more powerful. So it's following main character. We did her ritual, and like during the ritual you basically have a task to complete. If you complete the task, then you get your magical abilities. But none of the tasks are always easy. Depending on what ancestor you run into will determine like how difficult your task is. And she run into one of the most hardcore ancestors ever. They already know whatever her task is going to be very difficult. So that's like basically the synopsis of this book. My issue with this book was I did not like the main character. She was too damn whiny. She was a main character that was extremely gullible. Everything she did not make sense. She put everybody around her in danger. Didn't listen to anything. She had zero character development. It wasn't even like it was like a build up to like the chosen one trope, but she was really like not trying to be the chosen one. Like, she was given like Jon Snow. She was like, I don't want no parts of this, like just leave me out of this, please. And then on top of that, she just was whining the whole time, jealous of everyone, questioning every single thing she did. And the worst part is like, we're in her head. I feel like because there is a love interest in this book, I feel like it maybe would have benefited if we got their perspective as well. I feel like maybe would have mixed it up a little bit, because we could have been able to see their world as well, because the situation and the academy that the love interest was in was a completely different setting. I feel like I should move, y'all, because this is like the darkness. I don't know if I could deal with this. The darkness is like low-key aggravating the shit out of me. Let me see. But like, this video is starting off in chaos. once she was given her task and once the ritual was done, she needed to be on go. But she was just avoiding the task for as long as possible as she could. And anytime she tried to do something as far as accomplishing this task, she put everybody in danger, or she did something that made no sense, that would literally not help her at all in the task that she was given. It just was insane. It was literally insane. Then she slowly started losing her mind. She started having these like illusions because she was taking too long to complete this task, so the ancestors started messing with her. Girl, it was just a hot mess. It was a hot mess. Like, I was just ready for her to experience something that pushed her over the edge to like actually accomplish this task and become a better person. Aside from her, there was a romantic love interest. I felt absolutely zero chemistry between the two of these people, and I just feel like I really wish authors would get into their platonic friendship bag, because every single book, especially fantasy, does not need romance. Like, I really wish people would start writing books that don't have romance in it, because I love romance in books. I love fantasy romance, but I also like platonic friendships and seeing friendship groups with zero romance in the book. You can have a subplot or a side character that falls in love or whatever, but for it to be the main focus of the book, sometimes it seems unnecessary, because like it's clear that two characters have really strong platonic friendship vibes. Even the love interest, I don't feel like they was really feeling her. They seemed so annoyed by her, and I just was like, me too. Me too, we in the same boat. But I felt like the love interest was unnecessary. I felt like the ending pissed me off big time. I don't want to spoil it. I'm so sick of fantasy books being heavily tied to like extremely traumatic slavery scenes. Please hang it up. Like, I feel like some people have no issue with racism being part of the plot, which is like, to a certain extent, I don't mind it, but like extremely violent, extremely violent and chaotic and traumatic scenes and backflashes of like slavery. I know root magic was like, I know what root magic is, and I know it's tied to that time, but like, do we have to run it back and experience the harmful things that these slaves experienced back then in the book? Why do we have to have backflashes? Why do we have to have, like, why? I don't want to see these gruesome, bloody, gory, like sad, depressing, racially charged, traumatic scenes. I'm so sick of it. Like, there are so many different ways you can tie magic into fantasy with black people without it being tied to racism. Like, please, like, please, I'm so sick. I'm sick of it. Like, I'm so fucking sick of it. And I know that some people don't mind it, some people it doesn't bother them, but it's driving me crazy. And me personally, I can deal with it to a certain extent depending on what you're showing me, because I'm a very visual person. Anytime I read something, I see the scenes in my head, so I don't want to see that in my head. And I feel like publishing is only giving books the opportunity to be published if it has like traumatic black experiences in them, or like heavy racism vibes. Like, it's just like, it's too much. It's too much. Another thing, at one point they were bathing in like period blood. I mean, when it comes to witchcraft, I know that blood is used, especially period blood, especially when it comes to women, but it's just something about, I was on my period when I was reading them scenes, and I was just like, just sitting in your own period blood is fucking wild to me. That is fucking bonkers. Like, that is ludicrous to me. It's insane. I know when it comes to witchcraft, stuff like that, different practices, whatever, to me, it made my stomach turn. It made my stomach turn. It was rolling like a dryer. I just couldn't get into it. It was no. That's all I have to say on her. Gorgeous cover. I still feel like if you're interested in fantasy, if you're interested in the premise of this book, please still check out this book. You know, maybe you'll like it. Second one on my list was another highly anticipated book, Blood Scion. Okay, so this book basically follows our main character who has fire wielding abilities, but she can literally set somebody on fire from the inside out. She's extremely powerful, but she's also in hiding because it's dangerous for her to have these magical abilities. Anyone that has these abilities is potentially killed. There's also a war going on, and the war that is happening, they're taking children soldiers. I think once they turn like 15 or 16 or something like that, they take them, they put them in boot camp and train them to be soldiers. So she's basically been hiding who she is, and also anticipating being drafted potentially as a child soldier. So when she does get drafted, she's also trying to hide her magical abilities. She wants to be the chosen one. She wants to be the one to take the hierarchy down, to make a change. So she's like, hey, I'll go in as a spy. I'm gonna pretend that I'm down with all this, but at the end of the day, I'm coming up with a master plan. So that's potentially what this book follows. This book, I'm gonna say this was this author's debut book, and I am gonna give her props. She is a beautiful writer. Like, this is the only book that's on this list that I will be reading the second one, because I'm like, come on, maybe it'll get better. But the covers eat down. The writing was so beautiful, but there were so many things that I was just fed up with in this book. Number one, it's very similar to my issues that I had with Blood Magic. The main character, the main character was extremely gullible. Every single person around her was thinking 10 steps ahead. She was thinking 30 steps behind. Like, I don't know what fucking world she was in. She was this person that really wanted to come up with a master plan, that wanted to destroy. She was like, hey, I'm in here, but I'm really trying to think of something. But she wasn't really thinking. I was like, girl, use them brain cells and come up with something. Like, come up with something better, like do better. All of her friends were constantly up for grabs because of the decisions that she made. She had tunnel vision because she also was trying to find out the history and information behind her mother, because her mother disappeared and she does not believe that her mother is dead. So she was only thinking about that. And the setting also, the entire book was set in this boot camp. I thought at some point we were going to get different sceneries, whatever. Like, we were literally just stuck in this camp the entire book. Like, the entire book, the whole book. Like, there was no, just the whole book. There was an unnecessary romance that felt rushed at the end of this damn book. This is one of the issues that I be having with some of these fantasy characters, where they just trust everybody. Like, you are in a live or die situation. You cannot be trusting every single person that is around you. And that romance was just like somebody that she should have never trusted. And I was just like, sister, what are we doing? What's happening? Use your brain cells. Where are them brain cells? Rub them together, make a fire. Like, come up with something. But she wasn't using her brain cells, all two of them. So it just was a mess, child. It was a mess. Also, the ending kind of fell flat for me, because it felt like this entire book we were just like building up to like this big hurrah at the end. But the big hurrah just felt like a one scene, like, you know, like for like a few pages or like a chapter or whatever. And I was just like, oh, okay, this whole book, this is what we've been building up to, and this is what we get. Okay, it just didn't flow together well. I feel like I didn't realize I didn't like it until like maybe 50% in. You know how you try to give a book like the fighting chance, and then you realize like this just ain't it. Like 50% in, I was like, what we doing? Like, what's going on? It started getting boring. I'm like, okay, we still doing the same shit. She ain't learned anything yet, and everyone's in danger. Okay, like I said, this author, the bones of her book and the writing in this book was so phenomenal. So I will be picking up the second one, hoping for the best, hoping that it's better, especially with that cover. Like, they keep getting me with these damn covers, but I need them to have substance in the book. So I'm really hoping that the next one has substance. Her writing in a way is like poetic, kind of like Lonnie Taylor, but like less flowery and more vicious. Like, it's like a vicious Lonnie Taylor poetry-esque writing in some scenes, but she needed to work on characteristics of her character and just like being, just, yeah, that's the only thing that she needs to work on. So I'm rooting for this author. We'll see how it goes next year. Oh! I'm about to get burned on a pike. Okay, we're doing this. Okay, you made a fool of death with your beauty. You made a fool of death with your beauty. No, come here. I want to talk. I just want to talk because everybody was hyping this damn book up so much. No, you made a fool of me. You made a fool of me because I should not have read this damn book. Everybody that made me read this book is going to prison. They're going to hell. Lucifer is coming to get you. I'm sending him your way, because why did y'all make me read this book? I did read this in a vlog, which y'all can check out up here if you want to. I don't know which side, because I usually am facing this way, but whichever side. Child. This damn book, y'all can't be for real with this book. Y'all cannot be serious. We'll be up for real. we're being serious right now. What was it? What was it? Hell, fire, flames. I want y'all to feel the pain that I felt reading this damn book. Like, y'all not serious right now. Okay, let's just talk about the synopsis. The synopsis of this book basically follows the main character. Her name is Faye whoever, and she is someone who is grieving after the loss of her husband. And she basically is in her whole era. She like, hey, what it do, what's going on? Like, she kind of was like, you know, closed off, staying to herself, grieving and processing what she was going through for like a few years. I don't remember how many years, like maybe a year or two. But now she like, hey, what's good? Where the boys at? Bring the boys to the yard. Bring them to the yard. So she's in her whole era, you know what I'm saying? And then she gets to dating somebody, and then it just turns into like this whole messy ass romance, quote unquote, which is another gripe I have with this book. But this turns into this whole romance thing, forbidden romance, and that's all I can say. If I say too much, it's gonna give the whole damn book away. Number one, let's start from the beginning. The main character was flat as hell. Where was her personality? Where was it? Aside from her being a homie hopper, where was her personality? I want to know. She was an artist. We barely got to touch on her art. We barely got to see her art. And when we did, it was like there was blood and humanly fluids and stuff on it. I know, hey, you an artist and you sensitive about your shit. Get down how you get down. But that shit is weird. Blood on a painting and you want to hang it up in your house? That is going to decay and smell. Why would you want that hanging up in your house? That is so crazy to me. Cool. Okay, let's move on. Let's move on. Romance. That's the genre of this book. That's the genre. The genre of this book was not romance. What the hell is it them people that the smart girls be reading? The shit where it's like dive deep into what we read in and understand. It felt like a contemporary literature book. The only person I felt like Faye had chemistry with was the dude that she met in the club in the beginning. After that, everything that happened after that, my brain went on airplane mode. I don't know what the hell was going on, what was happening. It was a hot ass mess. The issue I had with this book was like the main focal point of this book was grief. The love interest was dealing with grief. Faye was dealing with grief. But we did not really get to see moments so we can grieve with the character. Like, if we got to see past memories of her and her husband, or past memories of, we would maybe understand it a little bit better. Like, for example, the book Queenie. Queenie is one of my favorite books. So in the book Queenie, I feel like we got to see her self-destruct and have very destructive characteristics, but we saw why. We were following around with this character and seeing the things and the situations that she was put in to make her like this. With Faye, I felt like we did not see any of that. It was just like tell, this is why this is happening, this is why this is happening. I'm like, okay, the build up to that romance, it was so random to me. Like, it wasn't even like slow burn. Why are they getting together? Like, it just, I didn't understand. I was just like, did I miss something? I was listening to this on audiobook and I was like, did I miss a chapter? Because how the hell did we get here? How the hell did we get here? It was like I was in a car and somebody driving, I fall asleep, I wake up and we in Alaska. And I'm like, how the hell we get to Alaska? What was the build up to this? When did we get here at this moment right now? I just, oh my god, I don't know. The narration felt very disconnected. Faye felt very flighty and chaotic, and I just was so confused why everyone was so infatuated with her. Like, why everyone is obsessing over this girl. She's giving you nothing. She's giving the girls nothing, and y'all are falling over yourselves over this damn character. Why? I really don't understand. I don't understand. I will never understand, because I don't get it. I do not get it. Like, the only thing I enjoyed about this book was the description of food. That was it. Any book that has food in it, I'm here for it because they describe it so well. But, other than that, I don't know what the hell was going on in this book. I don't know why y'all was hyping this book up so much. It was terrible. I gave it 2 stars. I will give it 1 star, but the author is black, so I gave that book 2 stars. The only reason they got the extra star is because they're black. That's it. That is literally it. And then on top of that, when the romance happened, it just happened in the blink of an eye. and then they're just laying in bed together and reciting like Shakespearean quote love notes to each other. Barely have moments together, have not even slept together yet, but y'all laid up in the bed watching the sunrise, quoting Shakespeare shit. You talking to this person like y'all been in love for 5 years, or you've known this person, or you know. Be so for real right now. Be so for real. It was just so no. That's all I gotta say. Anyway, let's move on to the next book. This is why I don't like doing these videos, because when I get mad about something, it's over. It's a book that I have for my book club, which if you don't know, I have a book club on Fable called Our Island. If you want to follow over on there, and we read 1 book a month. So the first book that I picked was Perfect Fine. This is like an age gap romance that follows this, I'm gonna say creative director. This creative director that is in like the dying fashion industry, because as you know, Instagram and all this stuff has changed magazines and the way we consume media in general. So she's in her 40s. She's trying to catch her footing and understand how to get in with the get in. You know what I'm saying? She ends up working at this new company because she's restarting her life after ending a like 20-year relationship. She's trying to start over. She broke. She don't know what the hell's going on. Her life is a mess, but she's trying to get it together, one building brick at a time. And she ends up falling for the boss's son, who is the photographer on the scene, and they have like this little love spat, whatever, child. They fall in love. It's a mess. That's basically what this book follows. My number 1 issue with this book was it was too damn long. Like, all these romance books that are like 500 pages, why? What do y'all have to talk about for 500, 600 pages for a romance book? Romance books should be tops 300, and that is stretching it if it's a slow burn. They should be like 250 pages or less. Like, that's the perfect amount, perfect pacing. We get to see them fall in love. We get to know the characters. Good. Wham bam, thank you ma'am. Anything over that is absolutely bonkers. Like, the only person I'm willing to deal with that with is Kenny Ryan. And even sometimes with her books, I'll be like, why is this book so damn long? That was my issue with this book. Second issue was, this is an age gap romance. I have no problem with age gap romances as long as it's not predatory or a little bit too gappy, a little bit too weird. And I felt like they made this a little bit too weird. Like, the love interest was in his, I think in his 20s or something like that. Clearly this was not gonna, this is not feasible. This is a 40-year-old woman and this man is 20 years old. But you know, I'm trying to see what we gonna do, how we gonna get this done. Everybody love story is different, so we gonna see. They kept having these backflashes of the love interest as a child. Why? We already know that he's young. We know that he's younger than her. Why do we need to see him as like a 10-year-old, 9-year-old, 6-year-old, whatever? We don't need that. No one needed that. We don't need to see him saying, like, with the baby talk too. You know how they do the baby talk in books where they be spelling shit wrong? It was a mess. These characters had terrible communication. Had a trope that I absolutely hated at the end. They was referencing his age too much. They kept bringing up how, oh, you're just so little, you're so cute. Oh. Like, stop. That is a grown-ass man. Stop talking to him like he's a fucking teenager. Y'all made it weird. Y'all made it weird, and no. And sometimes it just felt blabbery. Like, there was so many backflashes in her monologues of like this character going into depth and talking. It was just too much. Like, girl, we don't need 60 pages of her remembering the old times or remembering something. This could have been 250 pages less. Easily. And maybe it would have been better, but you know, I'm not an editor. What the hell do I know? Okay, so next book that we have on the list is Luster. This book follows the main character who is in her, I want to say 20s? Main character who's in her 20s trying to figure out life, figure out what she want to do, where she want to be, how she want to be it. And I don't even know how to explain this book. She basically is down bad, trying to figure out her life. She starts this affair with this married man, and then just go from there, child. It's supposed to be lit fic, whatever the hell, like some deep book. Oh my god, this book, all the literary fiction girlies was recommending this book so heavy, and I want to know why. I want to know why y'all like this. I want to know. It felt so chaotic. It felt like every chapter someone was eating 4 pages before we flipped. Like someone just snatched up the book, ate 4 of the pages, and then gave it back to you. None of the shit made sense. It was just things that were happening that I just was like, it felt like sinister in a way, and I really wish it was a thriller, because the wife in this book had every reason to start slaughtering people. Like, I was ready for her to snap. Like, I was waiting for it to turn into a psychological thriller. Literally, I was waiting for her to lose her mind. And there was just like a scene where she was just like talking to this dude that she was sleeping with. He just started hitting her. Just like full on, like he said something to her and he was just like, oh well, if I hit you, you would like that, or something like that he said. And she was like, oh yeah, do it. And he just like full blown socked her. Like full blown socked her. And it was like they made it seem like she enjoyed it. I was like, where are we going with this? What was the reason? What was the point of that? None of these characters felt real. They just felt like a list of characteristics, and none of them efficiently executed. The guy in this book, he was supposed to be like an alcoholic, bad person, whatever. We didn't get to see that. It was just like, you were telling me this, and he would do these things where it just was like, what is wrong with this man? But we didn't understand or see his characteristics. He was just there. Same thing with every other damn character in this book. The only thing that was kind of nice was her relationship with the child in this book. But it also was like, why do y'all have a child involved in any of this mess that y'all have going on? It was just a mess. I couldn't believe how much of a hot ass mess this book was. It wanted to be deep so bad. I just felt like it wanted to be deep so bad. And y'all wanted this to be deep so bad, but it was not. It was like you go to a pool and you see on the ground say, oh, 11 feet. Your dumb ass jump in there and you don't realize that the 11 feet is on that side and you just jumped into 3 feet. That's what this book felt like. It felt like it wanted to be deep so bad and you were giving 3 feet. You're not 11 feet, babes. You're not 11 feet. Hang it up. Okay, so I'm so tired talking about these books. Alright, number 6 is Love is a Revolution. I really wasn't, I mean, I wanted to read this book. I wasn't highly anticipated, but it was basically following the main character who is a teenager and she's interested in this guy, and she basically feels like she can't get the guy if she don't pretend to be someone else. So telling him all these things about herself that are not true in order to get him to like her, and she's trying to find a way to tell him the truth and to be more comfortable with who she is. Like a coming of age story. It also deals with family, friends, stuff like that. Child, cover is gorgeous, story is trash. Like, the main character was absolutely a terrible person. She hated everyone. Like, you know how many friends that I have that we don't agree on the same thing, or they have interests that, not even just we don't agree on the same thing, because some things I can't be friends with you if you don't agree on. You know what I'm saying? Some of my friends have different interests from me, and I don't, like, it doesn't, I'm not gonna be like somebody saying to me, why you read so much? That's what you want to do? You want to read all the time? And they won't be my friend no more. It was just like, this main character had an issue with every single thing somebody was passionate about. She dragged them through the mud for anything they were interested in. It was the end of the world. It was the worst thing in the world because she didn't like it, see the importance of it or whatever. It's just like, let people like things and just shut up. Like, be so for real. You are lying to this dude that you're dating, and you're trying to tell somebody that they can't be passionate about something because you don't agree with it. Girl, don't nobody give a damn about none of that. You need to tell this man that you like to eat meat while you sitting over here trying to pretend you a damn vegetarian and you ain't. Let's start there. Worry about that. Worry about them burgers you telling him that you don't eat and you do be eating, and chicken and all of that. Worry about that. Don't worry about what everybody else is doing with what they interested in. You know what I'm saying? Like that. No. I was not feeling it. I did not like that at all. She just hated everything, hated everybody, and was extremely judgmental and had her own shit going on. It was just like, girl, figure your stuff out. Oh, the doozy. The doozy. Do I really gotta talk about this? Alright, the girls are gonna come for me. Legendborn. Legendborn. Gather around, children. Gather around. I know everybody loves this book. I know everybody is losing their minds over this book. What was it? What was so great about this damn book? I need someone to tell me. Aside from representation, take representation off the table. Tell me what was so great about this book. Tell me right now. I need 5 things. 5 things right at the top of your head. Take representation off the table. The girls were eating this book alive. Like, I don't think I need to tell y'all what Legendborn is about, because y'all know what Legendborn is about. We don't need to even go there. But Legendborn, I feel like it came out, I want to say it came out around 2019, 2020. I want to say. So it came out around the time of Black Lives Matter movement and police brutality being at the spotlight, the front and center. It's obviously something that's been going on, an issue that we've been dealing with as Black people. But I feel like all of the people that read that book during that time would have a different view on the book versus me. Because I read this book in 2022, you know, once my brain was cleared from all the trauma and insane things that were going on during that time. Being Black during that time, being Black in general is extremely difficult, but being Black during that time was hard. So when you crack open a book that can help you escape from that and help you feel seen, and it also was during a time of publishing struggling with diversity, which they just make it seem like it's something so damn impossible, but now we're getting more diverse books. But around that time, that was an issue. So all the people that read that book during that time, I feel like their views and their experience are going to be different from mine. I read this book when it was no longer hyped, when nobody was really talking about it, and when the atmosphere and my experience was completely different. Maybe if I read it then, my feelings would be changed, but I always end up reading like hyped books way later in the game. I'm easily impressionable, so I don't want to be influenced into liking a book or thinking I like something and I don't. So I give it time to cool off, and then I revisit it. So let's talk about it. Let's start right off the beginning. This book was too damn long. Actually, it's right here, so let me grab it. You see this font? We're talking about almost 500 pages with a font the size of an ant. Why? Like, I love a big, thick book, but some of these books do not need to be this long. Like, y'all be stretching it, talking in circles, repetitiveness. That book did not need to be that long. It could have easily been like 100, 200 pages less. Easily. That's number 1. Number 2, the main character, did she have a brain? Did she have a brain? Because I feel like, I don't know what she was doing. She was in so many situations where I was like, if you just took a second to just think things out, like, just wait. I just wanted to grab her and be like, sit down, like, for 1 second and just think this through. Like, I feel like she was just like, we acted first, thinking later. But in situations that she was in, she needed to be thinking first and acting after. Like, she was doing the shit backwards. The best friend, where was she? Because she felt like a Black character in a movie where they have them there for comedic relief and they show up every 30 minutes of the movie, say something funny, and then they disappear. That's what, what's the child name? Alice? That's what, I think her name Alice. That's what Alice felt like. Where was she? She was not in the book. We didn't see her. She was gone. Alice was gone, and anytime she showed up, she tried talking sense into this, what's the child name? Bree. Tried talking sense into her. Bree did the exact opposite. The exact opposite. Or like anything she tried to do as a best friend to keep her safe or help her, she avoided and did the exact opposite. Another thing, y'all saying this book was diverse. I can't really think of too many Black and people of color characters in this book. From what I remember, I can think of maybe 3, but this book is also, to me, forgettable. Oh, maybe I'm forgetting something, but y'all scream at the top of your lungs that this book was so diverse. Just because we got a Black main character does not mean the book is diverse. Like, Blood Like Magic, I feel like was diverse. We had a all-Black family. We had an Asian family that was also like heavily impacted in the magical system. We had trans characters. We had people with they them pronouns. Like, we had a diverse cast. Maybe I'm forgetting something. Correct me if I'm wrong. Either way, I still don't like this book, so you can correct me if you like to, but I still did not enjoy this book. That was my experience. I don't care to read the next book, and I won't. And I won't. I think that if you like this book, good for you. But there's nothing you can say to change the fact that when I read it, I didn't enjoy it. And I think everybody needs to remember that. Watching this video, I think everyone needs to remember that there's nothing you can say that's going to change the fact that as I was reading this book, I didn't like it. And even now, I still don't like it. So, I love seeing the author get her coin. Hey, I am mad at it. I love seeing her top of the charts, doing her thing, but I just think it was extremely overhyped. Another thing, we got slavery tied into this. I'm so tired of the slavery trope being tied into black magic. There are so many African myths, voodoo, black witches, that all, you know, you can put this into stories without tying slavery into it. And black people have been practicing magic forever. I don't think we need to have these brutal, insane flashbacks. Slavery for it. I don't think we need that. I don't think we need that. I don't know if maybe it's like taking ownership of our history, taking back our history. That's all good, but I don't feel like that really does anything. I just feel like it's a traumatic thing to read, and I don't want to read about slaves getting the shit beat out of them. I don't want to read about that. I don't know about you, but I don't enjoy that. That's not fun for me at all. So it's a part of our history, it's a part of who we are, but I don't feel like every fantasy book needs to have a slave getting the shit beat out of them in it. Maybe that's me, but it seems unnecessary. I still don't really understand what the hell happened. The last like 100 pages, I felt like there was another forced romance, unnecessary romance. I did not feel the chemistry between her and whoever the hell that boy name was. Did not feel the chemistry between the two of them, and I feel like that might be the only reason why a lot of these white readers even like this book, is because she ended up with whoever the hell she ended up with, and they're like, ooh, a romance we can grab onto. I guess there's like a love triangle. I honestly feel like I zoned out the latter half of this book, and the love interest. I can't even say my number one reason of why I did not like the fact that she ended up with him, but given the love interest family lineage, that's who y'all wanted, that's who she needed to be tied to. That's who y'all want to be together? I still don't really understand what the hell the magic system was. I know this was like a King Arthur retelling, but if you paid me right now to tell you exactly what the magical system was, I wouldn't be able to do it. It was a little bit confusing. There was a lot of telling, a lot of it's a huge part of the book, and I completely don't remember anything about it. So that's saying a lot. That's all I have to say. Forgettable. Moving on. Raybearer. I thought this was going to be the best damn YA book that I ever read in my life. I can't even really give a synopsis because I don't really know how to explain this book. Basically, it follows a main character who was heavily neglected by her mother. She doesn't understand anything about who she is, who her mother is, and why she's so isolated in her house / castle. As time goes on, she learns more about who her mother is, aka the lady. She learns about the magic in the land that she lives, and she goes to see if she can join basically the princess clique. She goes to the royal palace to see if she can join the princess clique. Every few years or whatever, the prince picks like 13 people to be a part of his little group, and they all communicate with each other. They all use each other's powers, magical abilities, and they're basically in charge of the land. They're in charge of making laws. They're in charge of the politics once they become older. They're basically built up from a young age to run the land. Basically, the story starts from there. I thought this was about to be the best damn book I've ever read in my life. Everybody loved it. Everybody loved it. I was ready to love it. The cover, I love the cover. I will say I feel like this was a very unique story that was told, and I feel like I enjoyed that part. My number one issue with this book was the pacing. It just felt oddly paced. Like it would feel extremely slow at some parts, and then at 6 times speed the next part. It was just so all over the place. It didn't feel like it was like well balanced. I don't really have too much to say. I just didn't enjoy it. I honestly expected more. There weren't any big things that stood out to me. It just wasn't what I expected. I felt like it was okay. It was just okay. Like the history behind the character and the myths and stuff like that, I enjoyed for the most part. I felt like the bones of this book was good, but the execution, I just didn't really like it. And that's all I gotta say. I don't really have too many passionate feelings about this one, but number 9, Fake It Till You Bake It. Okay, this book basically follows the main character. Her name is Jada. She's a ex-reality dating show star, and she ends up leaving the dude that everybody wanted her to be with, so now everybody hates her. but she's a rich girl, and she like, listen, I don't need this damn money anyway, bye. So she ends up trying to make it on her own and trying to become her own person. She goes to this cupcake shop that is owned by a football player who's also trying to make it in the scene, and she just starts dragging his cupcakes. He like, these cupcakes dry, this little cupcake shop is ugly, like, what we talking about? And he overhears her, and then she ends up working there, and they also end up fake dating. That's the premise of this book. This book, it sounded so cute. I'm a sucker for like a love reality show. Like, I just like seeing people fall in love, even though half of these people be faking. But I thought it was different to have like a reality show personality as a love interest. I thought that was pretty cool. But Jada was a bitch. She was a mean person. Feel like they was really harping on that reality TV show line. It just was like, girl, don't nobody care that damn much. Like, you talking about these people stalking you and hunting you down on it. I know some people take certain things, social media especially, or certain shows, they take it a little bit too far. But at some point I'm like, okay, don't nobody care this damn much about what her decision was. Like, hang it up. Like, this whole storyline about this was just too much. The biggest issue with this was the love interest. He was so damn flat. He had zero personality. We never got to see him like actually play football. I completely forgot he was a football player. He didn't really talk about it like that. We didn't get to see any scenes of him practicing or anything. He had a cupcake shop. He don't know how to bake. He don't know how to run a business. He don't want to get to know the customers or get to know like how to make the atmosphere more welcoming. He just opened a cupcake shop just to open a damn cupcake shop. For what? You're not a baker. You're not a baker. You're not trying to learn how to bake. You're not trying to be lucrative in the business because your business is failing. You being mean to your customers. You're not getting to know them. The atmosphere is dry. Like, what are we talking about? Why you got a cupcake shop? You don't need it. And their chemistry, where was it? He just felt like a robot to me. He just was there. He's supposed to be grumpy or whatever. He was non-existent. He was Casper. He was a ghost. That's basically it. I don't have much to say on that. That just was not it. The romance was not there. The plot was not there. This is a perfect example of what I was saying when I said that publishing are just picking up shit that has tropes that they think people will like. You got fake dating. You got an ex-football player that got a cupcake shop. So that's something that's a little cute. Reality TV show or whatever. All these little tropes that you feel like people will enjoy and you make it into a book. But the structure of the book, the substance of the book lacks. The characteristics of the character lacks. The execution lacks. Like, y'all need to stop worrying so much about these damn covers and these tropes, and if you can make it the next TikTok hit, and worry about the substance of the book. We are readers. We are readers. Like, we want the plot and the actual characters to be of substance. We don't give a shit about tropes and all. Before TikTok and all this, we don't care. We like tropes or whatever, but that you can't build a whole book around one damn trope and think it's about to do something. It ain't doing nothing but getting what, 2 stars I gave it? Please, girl. Way of Blood. Oh god, this was another book that I was excited for. I was gonna even do a cosplay for this, but I just was like, girl, don't even do it. Don't even think about it, please. This book basically follows the main character who is pretending to be white until her hair gets wet. Everybody find out she's not white, and then she finds out she has magical abilities. It's a Carrie retelling. If you don't know what Carrie is, it's basically this girl who was like bullied, and she ends up having like telepathic powers and magical abilities. That's basically it. Written by Stephen King. The movie is fire. Tiffany D. Jackson, I'm just ready for her to get comfortable in the horror and thriller and suspense-ish genre, because I feel like all of her books have this sinister feel, this like feeling of uneasiness, and I always felt like she would be a good like horror writer or writing something dark, but I just feel like she just hasn't really hit the mark for me. Like, even in White Smoke, she didn't really hit the mark for me. This one, my issues were, it was a retelling, but it just felt like she wrote the exact same book with a dash of racism. It was the exact, like, if you've ever read, I haven't read that book, but I grew up on Carrie and all them old school horror movies. It was the exact same premise with racism. And I know that Black authors want us to feel seen, want us to feel heard, want us to feel understood, but does every single book that we have to tie into racism? Personally, if that's what you want to do, that's your business, but I don't feel like this book needed that to be the entire plot of this story. The entire plot. And it was set in like 2014, 2015. Girl, 2015 and having segregated proms? On what fucking planet? I live in Georgia, so I know if you drive too far out into the country, you're gonna see some Confederate flags waving. So I'm not saying it's something that's like far-fetched, but that, I don't know, that whole setting was just weird to me. Just set it back in the day. What was the point of setting it in 2014? I felt like that was unnecessary, and I felt like I just wanted her to do more with the story. I thought like she was gonna tie in like some type of like Black witch magic, because she did touch on that a little bit, but it was just like the afterthought, and I was just like, I expected more. I definitely understand the reasoning behind authors writing these type of stories, but you gotta carry retelling and you write the exact same book but throw in a handful of racism. That's it. That's all you can do, especially with her. She's a phenomenal writer. She's an auto-buy author for me, and that's all you could do. I feel like she definitely delivered in a lot of the messages that needed to be had in this book, as far as the white savior complex, as far as like one of the main characters using another character just to get her foot up, as far as a Black character that's saying like, oh well, all my friends are white and they never make me feel uncomfortable until he opened his damn eyes and see what the hell's going on around him. I feel like some of those conversations started in this book were important, but it's just something to, I don't know what else to say about that, but I just expected her retelling to just give more, and it didn't really feel that spooky. Like I don't know, I feel like all her other books, they just do better with like the suspenseful feel, and I didn't feel the suspense in this. And one of them characters that I feel like should have died got away. That's all I'm gonna say on that. I just wanted her to go dark. I wanted her to bring something new to the table, and racism already has a seat. She already has a seat. She's comfortable. She got her throne. Racism in books, we got it, okay? I want these authors to start bringing something new to the table. I might get backlash for this, and I don't really give a shit, because who cares? How I feel is how I feel. How you feel is how you feel, and that's just what it is. It's my damn channel. I want these authors to bring more to the table. Please, like, give us something new. You guys are phenomenal writers. Like, publishing needs to give a lot of these indie authors more opportunity, because y'all are just profiting off of Black trauma and using racism as a damn plot point for every fucking book, and I'm tired of it. I am so sick of it. I could not be sicker. Okay? So that's all I got to say on that. Overall, like I said, if any of these books that I talked about you love, you can still continue to love them. I will still continue to not love them, and my opinion will not change. Will I still read for some of these authors? Absolutely, because I'm rooting for everyone Black. A lot of these books really just disappointed me. They weren't the worst thing I've ever read. Please, they weren't the worst books that I've ever read. These are all phenomenal writers who have strong suits, but at the end of the day, they're weak points stood out more to me, and that's just what it is. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know if you felt similar to any of these books. If any of these books are on your TBR, please still pick them up if that's something that you would like to do. If you made it to the end of this video, leave a lamb emoji. Leave a lamb emoji in the comment section below. I hope everyone is having a great reading year. I personally am trying to catch up on all of my Goodreads reviews, so that's kind of what I'm focusing on right now. Thank you guys so much for watching. All of my links are in the description box below. If this video ends up being 6 hours long, I'm so sorry. Y'all know how I get when I have something to say. I will see you guys next week. Always remember, read a book, keep your life interesting, and I will see you next time. Bye.